Hey young friends, Dr. Bill here. You may recall that for the last couple of weeks we have been talking about some of the figures that are important to the story of Jesus' birth. Today I want to call your attention to a figure, a character, that we don't pay a whole lot of attention to when we begin talking about how Jesus entered this world. The person is King Herod. You may recall from a couple of weeks ago that when we talked about the Magi or the wise men, remember they followed the star that they had sighted, and they followed it all the way to Jerusalem. Assuming that the appearance of this star heralded the birth of a new king, they naturally went to Herod's palace and began to ask, where is the newborn king? Well, this got King Herod's attention. King Herod was an insanely jealous person. He guarded his power, and when he heard word of a newborn king, he naturally felt threatened. And so he sort of played a trick on the wise men. After summoning all of his people who studied Scripture, Herod said, well, it appears that the newborn king is actually born in Bethlehem. And then he said, listen, when you find the king, you come back and let me know, because I want to come and worship him. Well, naturally, that is not what King Herod wanted to do. And so once the wise men found the Christ child, they were warned by an angel that they needed to go home by a different route. They needed to bypass King Herod because Herod's intentions were to kill the child. Naturally, when Herod learned that the Magi had left without coming by the palace to tell him who they had found and where he was enraged. And so he sent out an order. He commanded his soldiers to go to the city of Bethlehem and the area surrounding it and to kill every infant who was 2 years old or younger. That's a pretty horrifying story, isn't it? And that's a part of the Christmas story that we overlook. I know it doesn't fit in with lighted trees and candles and wreaths and presents under the tree. But Herod's actions underscore something that is very, very important for us as we celebrate Advent and Christmas. Here it is. Jesus was born into the kind of world you and I inhabit right now. If you follow any news or you hear your parents or your grandparents talking about what's going on in the world, you'll know that this world can be a violent place. There are people who can be really, really cruel to others. And Jesus was born into that kind of world. He was born into a world where kings seek to kill people, even young children. Jesus was born into a world where there were a lot of people who were grieving and hurting. And so even though Herod's story is a bit off-putting, the message of it is extremely vital and important. Jesus was born into a world just like the one you and I live in. It's not a perfect world. It's not a world where everything works out well. It's a world in which there is really and truly evil and bad stuff happening all around us. But Jesus came into this kind of world in order to save us and to begin work in creating a new kind of world, the kind of world where justice and peace reign and where good things happen and God dwells among his people. So remember this, when you read the story of Herod, it's there because it reminds us that Jesus came into a world just like ours. Well, that'll do it for today. As always, I'm glad that you've chosen to spend just a few moments with me. If you have any questions, well, you know how to get in touch with me. In the meantime, I hope everything is going well for you. I know you're looking forward to a Christmas break from school, and I wish you well. Look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.